Hello, everyone. I was gonna make a really fun video comparing presidential candidates, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, their astrology. So, all right, here we have. Let's start with Donald Trump. He's the front runner. Um, so here's his chart. He's a Gemini Sun, conjunct North Node, conjunct Uranus in the 10th house, Gemini, opposite Moon. It's not showing it here, but South Node would be 20 degrees Sagittarius, so conjunct the Moon. So this is Donald Trump. I mean, we know Donald Trump is a big character, but we can also see it in his chart, which is really interesting. It totally validates astrology. If we didn't know anything about Donald Trump and we just saw this chart, we would say a lot. We could say a lot about this, but he was born during an eclipse. And the way we know this is because North Node is here and South Node's here, the Moon's here, and the Sun's here. And the nodes are the eclipse. The nodes of the Moon, they're the eclipse points. And what this shows is his destiny. Nodes relate to destiny. This is his Moon, his more emotional nature, and the South Node would indicate his past. So when he was younger, below the age of 42, he was much more influenced by his Moon in Sagittarius, which would be his mother and his a more emotional nature. And I don't know that much about Donald Trump. I was never really into him at any point, except now everyone has to be into him because he's, especially if you live in the United States, because he's the president. But if you watch videos of him when he was younger, he was much more gentle and more philosophical. That's Sagittarius. Sagittarius is very philosophical. Moon is our emotional nature. However, Moon and Sagittarius are pretty wild. They can be very, very wild because Sagittarius is fire, it's mutable fire. And these guys are unpredictable. They love adventure. They love travel and partying and just being wild. They are very entertaining. If you know any Sagittarius moons, if you follow astrology and you know anyone who's in Sagittarius moon, they're just so much fun. And they can also get themselves into a lot of trouble because they can be reckless too. But as he gets older, which he is older, then this becomes much more accented, the North Node. And what North Node indicates is your destiny, where you become obsessed. And Sun in Gemini, Sun represents ego. It represents the personality, the self, the biggest, brightest aspect of who we are in this world. Authentic, our most authentic, our biggest. It's the Sun. It's our biggest, brightest self, and it's in the 10th house in Gemini. Now, I'm a Gemini, so I understand Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. It's the sign of communication, and so Donald Trump is a communicator, and Geminis especially can be mouthy, and they can get themselves into trouble with their mouth, and I know that. And it's very obvious with Donald Trump. Now, 10th house is the house of the public image. So Sun in the 10th house, people with Sun in the 10th house are naturally going to have a very, very big public image. Now, I mean, this is really interesting. I mean, you don't see this often, but even if we didn't know anything about Donald Trump, we could say this is a huge, huge personality because North Node accentuates whatever it touches, and this is very close, within 2 degrees. And then Uranus further. This is the trio. These are blending energies. This is a potent combination. I mean, it's probably no exaggeration to say Donald Trump has the biggest personality in the world. I mean, who's going to argue with me about that? Like, Who are we going to say has a bigger personality than Donald Trump? And we see it here because North Node conjunct Sun, that's huge. In fact, my son, my little Isaiah, he has North Node conjunct Sun and Jupiter, so he's going to have a huge personality. Okay, that's a different story, but Donald Trump has it with Uranus, and anyone with a prominent Uranus is going to have deal with shocks in their life in different ways. I have Uranus conjunct my ascendant, which I like to be shocking. I like to say shocking things. I like to have shocking appearance and shocking, I like shock, and I have had plenty of shocks in my life because this is in Gemini, so it also deals with his expression, his communication, what he says. All three of these. That's shocked. And I mean, Donald Trump says shocking things, right? He gets in trouble from his mouth through what he says. That's very obvious here. And that's his destiny. That's part of his destiny. That's a major part of his destiny. North Node in 10th house indicates big, big public success. And shocks, well, his shocking rise to presidency, nobody called it. Everyone said, oh, he doesn't have a chance in hell, But that's Uranus conjunct North Node, conjunct Sun. So shocks, right? Big shocks with Donald Trump in the 10th house. Public shocks, obvious, okay? Now here we have the 11th house. 11th house deals with community. 11th house deals with networks. 11th house deals with actually large groups of people. And people with prominent 11th house placements can have influence and deal with big community. And that Donald Trump has that. Cancer. Cancer is the sign of the mother. It's ruled by the moon. And Cancer is a very caring, nurturing, protective position. So, I know a lot of people hate Donald Trump, but a lot of people love him. And here's partially why. When he speaks, his Mercury's in Cancer. People feel cared for. Some of you probably think that's a laugh, but look at the numbers, okay? I'm just talking facts. This is planets that have no morality. Planets have no judgment. They don't care to be right or wrong. They just are. So it's just a matter of fact. This is, that's one of the best things about astrology is there's no morality in it. There's no judgment. There's no good or bad placement. They're just placements. They're just planets in, going around the solar system. His Venus is conjunct his Saturn. Venus deals with women, but it also deals with pleasure and joy. And one of the things about Donald Trump is that he doesn't drink alcohol. And here we see this. He says, because I think his brother died of alcohol or something like that. But in astrology, this would be restriction and pleasure restriction. It also deals with women, restricting, controlling women. He has a thing with women, and that's here. We can see that. But it's also with himself that so he's a hardworking guy because his pleasure is restricted by Saturn. Saturn restricts whatever it touches, and it's restricting this, especially Venus, his pleasure. And we know he's pretty much a businessman. He's all business. He's not really about pleasure. He's about business. Guys, this is astrology. This is not me talking about Donald Trump, the person. This is just the planets. This is a public chart. I didn't make any of this up. This is what it is. Okay, so, and Saturn is authority. So Donald Trump has a lot of authority, and where he has authority is 11th house, community, networks, large groups of people, right? In Cancer, Cancer is a very mature sign. It's the sign of the mother. So, people do feel protected by him, right? Okay. Now here's where, so this is public appearance, AC. This is his outward appearance, Leo. Leo is so confident, and it relates back to the sun because the sun rules Leo. So energies mixing here. Leo ascendant, Sun in the 10th, conjunct North Node. Huge, huge personality, so much confidence. Mars and Leo conjuncting, it's in the 12th house, but it's strongly influencing the ascendant. Whatever's in the same sign, even if it's far apart, there's still going to be an influence. Like a lot of people say, oh, conjunction has to be, within a certain amount of degrees. Yeah, to a certain extent, but still same sign has influence. Like, one of the ways of looking at the signs is like age. Like here would be a very immature Leo, 0 degrees would be the most immature, like a baby, and 30 degrees or 29 degrees would be very old. And here would be like prime. But as we all know, that grandparents love children, their grandchildren, even if they don't understand them. So, a sign at the end of a planet at the end of a sign still relates to a planet at the beginning of the sign, even though they're very different. They have a lot. It's like a grandparent and a grandchild. There's still a lot of connection. So there's still influence here, right? Whatever's in Leo is going to affect. So this is close. Mars is influencing his ascendant in Leo. It gives him a lot of confidence, a lot of bravado, and he's like cocky and arrogant, and like, I'm Donald Trump, But he also has Pluto, and Pluto rules Scorpio, and Pluto is a creative, destructive planet. And in the 12th house, it's a difficult placement. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like him, because Pluto in the 12th house rules the subconscious, and Pluto is creative, destructive. People with Pluto in the 12th house can be destructive. I have it on the 12th house cusp. I know other people who have it deep in the 12th house. There's that destructive potential there, because it's creative, destructive power in the subconscious. And so people don't always know why they don't like him, but they're reacting to this. Pluto in the 12th house, I believe. Also his cockiness and his arrogance, and that comes off here. With his Mars and Leo, Mars conjunct ascendant in Leo, Sun conjunct North Node in Uranus in the 10th. I mean, the guy's cocky as hell. Moon in Sagittarius, that's trining his Mars, and to a loose degree his ascendant. I mean, the guy's wild, cocky, just mouthy as hell. All right. Second house. Here we can see his wealth. Okay, Neptune and Jupiter. If it was just Neptune, the guy would be lucky and unlucky. He would make a bunch of money and lose a bunch of money. I have Neptune in the second, and that's why I do everything for free, because Neptune, the second house, deals with assets, and hard assets, like owning things, like owning a house, owning material, owning a lot of wealth. And Neptune is just very free. It doesn't hold on to anything. It's just give and take. It's just letting things go. Like I have a really hard time holding on to things. And if you look at Donald Trump's history, just objectively, he's actually very generous. And in fact, during his presidency, he hasn't taken a salary and he's lost a lot of money, and he doesn't care. But Jupiter expands everything. So if it was just Uranus, he probably wouldn't be nearly as rich as he is. But Jupiter here expands whatever it touches. So here we see great expansion of material assets, wealth. In Libra is the marketplace. Libra deals with negotiations. And Donald Trump considers himself a great negotiator. Well, Jupiter, my mind is working too fast, but Jupiter deals with teaching, like guru, like wherever your Jupiter is, that's where you are like a natural teacher. That's why Donald Trump thinks he's like this great negotiator. I'm not saying he's wrong, but that's Jupiter and Libra, because Libra is a negotiator. Libra is a salesman. Libra deals with trade. So that's why Donald Trump can make these wonderful or big, successful trade agreements, because Jupiter and Libra in the second house deals with assets and big trade agreements. He makes a lot of money because of this, right? So, all right. So here we, this is the basic reading of Donald Trump. Also, his ascendant, even though it's in Leo, it's 2958. That's right at the very end of Leo. It's there, but most of his first house is in Virgo. Virgo is actually very, very sharp. Wherever you have Virgo, it's a lot of sharpness. And ascendant, along with sun and moon, also very much deals with your mind, with your intellect, because this is the point of realization. So and the first house is the most conscious house. So your first house very strongly deals with how astute and sharp you are. Most of his first house is in Virgo. The guy is sharp, and Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, both of these. So the guy's sharp. He is sharp. Maybe you don't want to admit that, but he is. Okay, let's look at Joe Biden just for comparison. I already pulled it up here. Expand it. All right, this is Joe Biden's chart. Let's see, Joe Biden. Joe Biden, Sagittarius ascendant, Scorpio sun. Look at all the Scorpio placements in the 12th house. Jesus. 0 degree Taurus moon. 0 degree, a lot of 0 degree. 0 degree North Node in Virgo. South Node would be right here in Pisces. All right. Joe Biden's chart is, oh my gosh. All right, let's start off. Ascendant in Sagittarius. I guess Joe Biden is kind of like sassy, wild, like, hey man, yo man, hey man, what's up, man? He's always talking like that. That's his Sag ascendant, Sagittarius. They're like partiers. They're adventurers, they're partiers, they're wild, very philosophical. All right. But he's got so much weird stuff going on. Let's look at his sun. It's in the 12th house, conjunct Venus. Sun conjunct Venus. Now, this is not, I have Sun conjunct Venus, so I know what this is about. Sun conjunct Venus do not like to work, okay? They like to have fun and enjoy themselves, because Venus is pleasure. Venus is women. Venus is romance. Venus is having a good time, okay? And 12th house, too, is hidden. It's Scorpio. Guys, you know how he's like always touching and smelling people, and like we feel a little creepy? There's so much water. 12th house is the water house. Scorpio is the house of, Scorpio is the sign of sex. Scorpio relates to sex. And it's not good stuff. Where's his Mercury? 12th house, Scorpio. Where's his Mars? Oh, right on the 12th house cusp, Scorpio. The guy's vengeful as hell. He's scorpionic. Okay, let's keep moving, because I want to pull some things together. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Where's Jupiter? Cancer, another water sign, 8th house. Holy smokes. Okay, Pluto in Leo, but 8th house again. Pluto rules Scorpio. Pluto's another water planet. The guy's got so much Scorpio water energy, and there's lower end and higher end of all the planets, right? Like, both Hitler and Charlie Chaplin were born the same week, so they have very similar, planets, but it doesn't tell you their evolution, right? We have to figure that out by looking at the people themselves. This could be very low or it could be very high. If I didn't know Joe Biden, I'd be like, well, he's either extremely psychic or a sexual deviant. Okay, you be the judge. You want to say Joe Biden's a psychic? Okay, I'm not going to argue with you that I don't think he is. I think he's more on the sexual deviant side of things. I really do. He touches little kids and women. He's got moon in Taurus. That's exalted. So, he's got emotional stability going for him. 5th house, though, likes to have fun. 5th house is it's ruled by Leo. 5th house deals with children as well. And 5th house is just, it's a fun house. it's a house of play. It's a house of joy, and it can be all kinds of things. It's Leo's house. It's a very diverse house, pretty much, but a lot of play. Fifth house planets like to have fun. They like to play. But look at this. Uranus conjunct descendant. Uranus, remember, Uranus is shocks. And wherever there's a prominent Uranus, we're dealing with shocks, shocking things. And I think Joe Biden's, see, I don't know a lot about Joe Biden, but like his kids died or something. Yeah, so I mean, and he's presidential nominee. And Saturn actually is good in the seventh house. So he probably does have a good relationship with his wife, even though Saturn's retrograde. But there's some shocks here, and seventh house also deals with how you deal with other people. So Joe Biden can be, I don't know if you watch enough videos, but Uranus here also, like Donald Trump, is shocking. Like Joe Biden says some shocking things to people. And he can be quite rude. I mean, and this is not knocking him. I have my Uranus is right there, conjunct ascendant. I understand that completely, but we're just looking at the presidential candidates here. So here, Joe Biden can be rude. This is the other people. He can be shocking with other people, right? This is his public image. Consider this: Neptune. Neptune rules Pisces. This is Neptune is the planet of delusion, of disillusionment. Of Neptune disappears things. 10th house is his public image. Remember, Donald Trump has. Look, this is Donald Trump's 10th house, and this is very obvious. Sun, North Node, Uranus. Okay. He's so prominent publicly, Gemini. Now, Joe Biden, sleepy Joe Biden, 10th house, this is public image, Neptune. I mean, nobody even knows Joe Biden exists, except we wouldn't know he exists, except that he's running for president, because he's got this, shocking thing in the 7th house. Very authoritarian, by the way. Saturn's authority. He's authoritarian with others. Dealing with other people, potentially. And remember, there's lower and higher expressions. But look, is Joe Biden going to win presidency? Not with Neptune in the 10th house. I really don't see it. Okay. He has North Node in the 9th house. 9th house deals with higher education, learning. So, I mean, it's approaching the 10th house. North Node in Virgo, but it's just not really prominent because it's not touching anything. Does he have any square? Yeah, so Uranus is squaring his nodes, and his ascendant is squaring his nodes too, and to some extent his Sun and Venus are too, but really Uranus. So that shows us that like he has a shocking destiny because whatever. Nodes are destiny. So Uranus is strongly squaring his nodes. So is his ascendant. So that deals with shocks. And he does have a shocking destiny. I mean, the shocks with his kids dying. And I mean, it's kind of shocking that he's running for president. And he'll probably have a shocking loss. I believe that. But this all deals with 12th house planets are, they can be very creative, they can be very psychic, but it's subconscious. If not properly accessed, it can be destructive. Remember I was saying Pluto in the 12th for Trump is why people don't like him. It shows some destructive potential. But Joe Biden has more going on in the 12th house, and it's Scorpio. At least Trump's 12th house is all Leo. This is Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of sexuality. it's no mistake. People call him creepy Joe Biden. I mean, with all the water in his chart, it's like amazing. Uh, would I trust this guy? No way in hell. I mean, he's got so much water. Water is deception. Water is hidden. If he was really spiritually evolved, I'd be like, okay, the guy's, really connected spiritually, but I don't think he is. I think he's done it. I think he's destroyed his mind. Um, I think he's an occultist because 12th house, 8th house water deals with the occult. I think he's deeply involved in the occult. I think he's deeply involved in secrets and hidden things. Scorpio in 12th house, water placement deal with secrets. The guy cannot be trusted at all. Like, look how much water. Like, his chart rulers in the 8th house in water sign, Cancer. Now, Jupiter in Cancer is strong, but in the 8th house, it's just so much water. And then it's connected to Pluto, not by sign, but by house, right? Pluto in the 8th house. That's, again, it can go either way, but that can be a lot of destructive potential because it's a water house. And it does deal with the psychological nature of the person. It's similar to the 12th house. Neptune in the 10th house, his public image is ruled by water. It's in Libra. So, he has some diplomacy, I guess, but Neptune is not a trustworthy planet. You cannot trust Neptune, right? Like, my Neptune is in the 2nd house. I cannot trust my assets. And I'll be honest with you, I have like $0 in my name. That's because Neptune is in the 2nd house. I just can't hold on to anything, and I give away everything for free. I do. So, guys, if you want to support me, sometimes I get money by magic because Neptune deals with like magic things, like things unseen, the unseen world. So Joe Biden's unseen in the 10th house in his public image. Sleepy Joe Biden. Nobody goes to his rallies. He's not there. He's just gone. That's what this is. And 12th house, Neptune rules the 12th house. The guy is all so much water. That's why he's like creepy and touchy and feely and like sniffing and like he's a sexual deviant. I'm sorry. So much water. I didn't make this up. This is just his planets. This is the way he was born. Like I said, if he had chosen, if his soul was more evolved, he could have been very psychic and spiritual. But there's lower and higher expressions of all the planets, and he really is on the lower side. He's too sexually oriented. Sun conjunct Venus. I know what Sun conjunct Venus is. I have it in the 8th house myself. The 8th house is a water planet, so I'm not. It's not a bias. I know what that's like. I don't want to give you too many details about me, but I know what it's like. Okay, so there we see the difference. Okay. Trump has so much public energy, 10th and 11th house, a little, got some destructive, especially with Pluto but it's in Leo. So it's not that hidden, but he's got a lot of fire energy, Trump, versus Sleepy Joe Biden, Creepy Joe Biden, too much water, so much water. Okay, that's the presidential analysis. I don't think Joe Biden's going to win. I don't think anyone likes Joe Biden at all. I think the only votes he's going to get are people that hate Trump. And who's going to argue with me about that? Like, you look at his rallies, they're empty. They're absolutely empty. And then you go to Trump's rallies, they're like packed. And water also deals with deception. Deception. Okay? Too much deception, too much dishonesty, too much potential to lie, cheat, and steal with water, because water's hidden. You can't see it. You don't know what's underneath, right? Joe Biden's, you cannot trust this chart. Like I said, This is the chart. If he was more spiritually evolved, it'd be the chart of a mystic, chart of a shaman or a psychic or a spiritual, hermit or something like that. Not a politician. This is not a chart of an honest politician. Any politician who has this chart, run, run, run far away from. It's my astrological analysis. Okay. That's it. Thank you.